皆さん、こんにちは。花です。今日、ボーエンドエロの SP バージョンを見ています。遅れてごめんなさい。最近、すごく忙しいですね。いつも見てくれてありがとうございました。グッドボタンとチャンネル登録よろしくお願いします。What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and to another reaction video. Today we are reacting to the short program version of Bow and Arrow. Now I already reacted to the full music video version of it. If you want to check it out, you can go right here. But I received so many requests to react to this version as well, so of course I'm gonna do that because I'm really looking forward to just seeing the entire thing as a short program. Now, if this is your first time here, hi, welcome. My name is Hannah, and I am a competitive figure skater. I began skating over 20 years ago and coached for 10 years of that, so I like to say I know a thing or two about skating. On top of that, I am just a skating superfan, and I always have been ever since I started. I make sure to watch every competition that I possibly can, and obsess over the skaters and their scores and the judging and all of that fun stuff. So getting to do this as well as react to the series Medalist if you're interested in that, it's also linked in the description, has just been so much fun. Of course, Yuzuru Hanyu is retired from competitive skating, but he did not retire from skating. His shows, apparently he's putting more practice into than he was putting into competitive skates, so he's probably doing even better now than he was when he was competing, which is kind of crazy because this man is a two-time Olympic champion. Olympic champion. That happens every 4 years. Anyways, I'm so excited to watch this full short program version with all of you. I'm going to react to it first, and then I'm going to watch it again, and I'm going to break down the elements, the GOE that I think he would be getting, and all that fun stuff. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to do a little bit of both so that you all can get just like a general reaction, and then also what I usually do, which is kind of break things down, pause a lot, kind of talk through it. So we're going to dive right in, but before we do, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts on today's video. You can also follow me on social media. I am at Hannah Malay on Instagram. This has more of my cosplay content, my skating content, and we'll be getting all of my Japan content the fastest while I'm there. I leave for Japan in less than 3 weeks, which is really exciting. So check that out if you're interested in all that kind of content. And you can also follow me on TikTok and X at lookingnerdy. TikTok's more of my short form Demon Slayer content, just silly, cringe, filter stuff. And then if you're more interested in my random thoughts throughout the day, including some Japanese, I tend to practice my Japanese a little bit more on there. You can follow me on X. And all of my social medias that I just mentioned are linked in the description below. But with that, let's get into it. I'm so excited because I know what this is going to entail since I've already kind of seen it, but this is the full short program version. So it's just like a skating short program. So we're being treated, man. I miss him. I miss what he brought to the skating world. When he announced that he was retiring from competitive skating, I was like, man, that's gonna leave a hole in skating because he's a 1 in a million skater. He's just so incredible. I'm so ready. Let's go. Just the way he generated that speed so quickly. Just complete control over the blade. Also, these are like twizzles with the little do-do-do-do-do-do-do, just for funsies. He just hits every like expressive point in the music. Cool quadlets. No big deal. Mouthing the words. I said he's a 1 in a million skater, and that is truly because it's so natural. Triple axel out of a counter and a rocker. No big deal. With a twizzle at the end, with the... It's something so simple, but just him doing 3 different very basic elements, like a snowplow stop, a tango stop, and a step forward on the do, do, do. skaters miss those little moments so often where it's just a simple step forward right on the beat. And it just shows the natural musicality that he has. We're not even going to talk about the twizzle out of the triple axel that was on that. Quad sow, triple toe, second half of the program, 10% bonus. Like, he's even spinning on the... I'm beginning to think that this piece of music was actually designed for him. I think that might be true, actually. I should watch the documentary. Well, it's not a documentary. I guess it's like an interview. Step sequence. There's nothing forced about his skating. I feel like so many skaters that are very artistic skaters, they had to practice becoming that artistic. For him, it just comes naturally. The way he just glides across the ice, his edges, everything about his skating is just... It's just who he is. It's like he was literally born skating. Guys. Okay, first call-outs. Number one, of course he's doing a quad lutz, which is the most difficult quad before an axel. He's doing a quad sow triple toe combo after the halfway mark for a 10% bonus. He's doing a triple axel with a difficult counter rocker entry. The twizzle at the end, I did not say it enough. The twizzle on the landing of the triple axel is not only just a great thing to add for added GOE, but he does it right on the like, there's so many times in skating where I'm watching a skater skate and they just miss these moments in the music where it's like, you gotta do something right there, whether it's a crescendo, you gotta do land a jump on the crescendo, or do an Ina Bauer, or a spiral, whatever you need to do to signify that the music is not just playing in the background. And I think over the past couple of years in skating, the hardest part for me, as someone who really has always enjoyed the skaters who perform, who clearly are listening to their music, over the skaters who just go out there and jump and jump and jump, the hardest part about watching skating over the past couple of years is I feel like we're moving farther and farther away from those types of skaters. And we're moving more and more towards the skaters that just skate with music playing and just jump and just spin and put things in no particular order. Nothing is really sensitive to the music. So for him to go out and do even like the smallest little things, the camel spin was practically on the beat. You know, he went into his spin when the music started making sounds that kind of remind you of spinning. The twizzle on the triple axel that's right on the do-do-do-do-do. The tango stop and the step forward on the do. Like, everything is so meticulous and perfect. I'm just like ranting and raving about it because I miss that in skating. Like, truly, there's so few skaters that can do that. I mean, even like my husband, who does not skate, he didn't grow up watching skating. When I watch skating, he doesn't particularly have interest in watching it with me because it's just not really his jam. Even he walks out while I'm watching skating and he's like, why are they skating to music? And I'm like, because part of the sport is musicality, is like skating to the music. And he's like, but they're not skating to the music. And it like frustrates him because they're not doing anything that particularly points towards I'm listening to my music and I'm skating to my music. But what Yuzuru Hanyu is doing here in a music video, which granted, of course, this is a full production, so there's cuts, there's editing, there's multiple takes, right? That was something he did competitively, and that's what made him so special, because it also didn't even feel like it was a particular, like, the choreographer told him, okay, make sure you hit this step and this step. It was like it was just natural to him, and that's what it feels like, because his body just moves along with the music. It's so hard to describe. It's just, it's incredible. And that's why he deserves the high component scores. That's why he deserves the positive grade of execution, because, again, I go back to that triple axel. I cannot stress to you enough how much I like that twizzle on the do-do-do-do-do, because it's perfect. It's literally perfect. And to time that perfectly with the landing of the triple axel, that gets you also at a grade of execution when your jump also is timed with music. We are being treated. We are being so treated by this, and I'm just in awe and just so thankful that I get to experience this, let alone share my thoughts and opinions about it with all of you. So we're gonna watch it again now, and I'm gonna be like pausing it and breaking it down. I'm gonna call out the things that I really love, but I'm also gonna talk about like base value and that sort of thing. I'm putting this in the second half just because I'm sure there's some people that don't really care about what the points are. They just wanted to see what I felt about the short program. So now we're kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of everything, and I'm going to talk about like what I think he would be scoring if this were competition instead of a music video. He does 3 crossovers, and he's already at like full speed, essentially. That's difficult. Twizzle, twizzle, twizzle. You know, he's just like... So, okay. I warned you all I'm going to pause a lot this time around. So there's 4 disciplines in ice dance. There's men's singles, women's singles, pairs, and ice dance. Ice dance is the odd man out because it's the only one that doesn't have jumps. It has spins, but it's very different than the spins that you see in the freestyle skating, as we call it, which I'm going to refer to skating with jumps as freestyle skating. Ice dance is very, very different to its core, and usually a singles skater or a pair skater would not really be able to do ice dance that well because it requires a different type of control on your blade. I remember when I switched from freestyle skating to solo ice dance a couple of years back. I think I'm going to switch back though. And it was because I was dealing with overuse injuries that kept me from being able to jump a whole lot. My coach made it very clear. He's like, you're skating like a freestyle skater. And you're skating like a good freestyle skater with good fundamental skills. But ice dance goes to the next level of like the depth of your edge. Like when you watch an ice dancer, take a look at their skates while they're skating and look and see just how close the boot is to the ice. The reason I bring this up, long drawn out way of saying, what he is showing right here is actual like ice dance quality twizzles that a normal freestyle skater can't do because we're so focused on the jumps and the spins that are the big point getters, and it just shows that he's also taken the time and effort to hone in his skating skills, and he also has that natural raw talent like I've talked about, and he's just showing off twizzles like they're nothing, also in a difficult position because he's like halfway squatting. Anyway, to be able to just do that as a freestyle skater is very rare because ice dance requires a whole different level of skating skills that you don't usually show off in freestyle skating. He's already hitting, you know, that back like bum, 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 bum. Like he's hitting those accents. And then he starts picking it up when it starts getting the bum, bum, bum. I also have a lot of background in music, so like all of that just tickles the nice part of my brain. Okay, we have our first element of the program, which is a quad lutz. Now, a quad lutz, as I always talk about, if you've been watching my channel, I'm gonna like tell you the base value. So a quad lutz is worth 11.5 points. Now, when the judges watch that jump, they can either add to that base value by giving them positive grade of execution, which means they executed it very well, or they can deduct from that base value by giving it negative grade of execution, or GOE. I'll be referring to it as GOE because grade of execution is kind of a mouthful. If it's performed not very good, you know, so if someone puts their hand down, if someone has a very scratchy landing, if they have to do 3 turns out of it, or if they fall, all of those are surefire signs of negative grade of execution where they're still going to get points for the jump, but they are going to take away from that base value because they did not perform it well. But then in his case, he performs it exceptionally well. He doesn't do anything particularly special. There's no like difficult entry, difficult exit. However, he has a lot of speed, he has a lot of flow, and it looks very easy. So in my opinion, the judges are probably going to lean towards giving him a +3 or 4 on this. And for those of you who don't know, the judges give like 1 through 5 for positive grade of execution, a 0 if it's just done, like they just did it. They didn't do it poorly, but they didn't do it well, they just did it, they'll give a 0, which means that they'll just get the base value. And then for if it's not done well, they give between -1 and -5. Once the judges all give that, all of their little marks of one judge will give a +5, one judge will give a plus 4, whatnot. All of those are thrown into a calculator, and they actually just get points added to the base value. So in this case, I would say the judges would be pretty much across the board 3s and 4s on that quad Lutz. And going off of skater protocols from present day competitions, that's going to add on about 4.30 points to that jump, which was, like I said, the base value of 11.5, bringing our total score of this element to 15.80 points. I don't think I ever got a technical element score of 15. No, I did. I mean, like, I was skating at much lower levels. I think my highest, and I'm talking like my entire technical element score that included all my jumps, all my spins, my step sequence, and everything, I think my highest is in the 20s, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's a big point getter. Let's keep going. Singing along to the music. Okay, this is big. So we're doing some transitional steps, all just so smooth, so perfectly. It's just so good. Okay, so first of all, he did a counter. So he went from a back edge to a forward edge and jumped right up. So he didn't really get any time to really set up the jump, which means that is a difficult entry, which piles on the grade of execution. The jump itself had a lot of speed, a lot of flow. And then, I'm not kidding, I think this is my favorite part. That twizzle is just so good. I don't know why. Like, that twizzle on the just as a skater, as someone who does a lot of music type stuff, it like I said, it tickles the part of my brain that just makes me so content and so happy. And it should with the judges too, because they're looking for stuff like that. That is right on the music, and it's just so good. So, okay. I'm usually so, like, straightforward with these. I'm just like, okay. A triple axel is worth 8.0 points. I think that triple axel deserves plus 5. There's nothing about that. He hits so many bullet points of speed and flow and height, difficult entry, difficult exit, on the music. Like, he hits all of the bullets that I can think of off the top of my head that they are supposed to hit in order to get positive grade of execution. So I'm just going to say this absolutely deserved plus 5s across the board. They throw that into a calculator again, and going off of, again, some current present-day skater protocols, I believe that'll give him about an extra 3 points of grade of execution, less than the quad Lutz because the triple axel is worth less points. It is easier. So, like, the lower the base value, the less added points they can get when they get, like, a plus 5. So if I got a plus 5 on a single axel, it's only going to add half a point. But if I get a plus 5 on a triple axel, because it's worth way more than a single axle, I get 3 points added, if that makes any sense. It's weighted based off of the base value. So I'm going to say he got plus 5s across the board. He got 3 points added onto that, meaning his triple axle altogether was worth 11 points. Maxed out. Moving on. Flying sit spin. Feature 1. Feature 2. I think I'll give him the difficult exit, but I don't think that would count in today's system. I will admit there are some new spin rules that have happened since I stopped competing for a while that I don't fully understand exactly how it works. Like, one of them being like a difficult exit is now a feature, and it wasn't when I was competing. That's why you see a lot of skaters do, like, lunges. It looks like they're practically falling out of the spin, but it's actually a difficult entry. They'll do a cartwheel out of a spin. You'll see those, like, random heel hop-ups in the middle of a spin, which I don't like. Spins have gotten very complicated, and I don't like it, but it is what it is. So I'm going to lean on the side of that being a difficult exit, but I only counted 2 other features, so he's not maxing out his points on this spin, because no matter what way I look at it, it's not a level 4. It is a level 3 if I'm being nice, a level 2 if the judges are strict. So keep in mind, the fly is not a feature in a spin. So a spin, you have a base value of just like a base spin, right? And then every time you change position and do something special within the spin, you add a level to it, and you max out at level 4. So in the case of this spin, the flying entry is not a feature. It is just that the base value of the spin is higher than a regular sit spin. So For reference, a sit spin with a flying entry, and we're going to say it was a level 3. The base value is 2.6 points. And I'm going to call it a level 3 because he did the basic position, which is just a regular sit position, and then he did the broken leg with the sideways lean, which is one feature, and then he did the tuck position, which is a second feature, and then, like I said, I'm giving him the difficult exit, which would be the third feature, so a level 3. 2.6 points, I would say this probably got +3s across the board. We'll give it +4s across the board, and we'll just give it an extra point. I'm being a little bit lenient on this, and also keep in mind, when it comes to the GOE, I'm just kind of taking guesses here. There's not really an objective fact behind what I'm saying. I'm just basing that off of feeling. But we'll give him +4s across the board on that spin, meaning he'll get an extra point added on, which brings his total to 3.6 points on that spin. That. He kicks forward, steps, and then tango stops right on the bum, bum, bum. Namida, namida. Everything, the Ina Bauer is on the slow, he stops singing, and everything else is matching with either the singing or the backbeat. Quad sow, triple toe, and also keep in mind that was all in one take. Holy moly. Okay, quad sow, triple toe. Also, this is after the halfway mark of the program, meaning that we'll get a 10% bonus. So when you do a combination, they just take the base value of the 2 jumps within the combo and add them together. A quad sow cow is worth 9.7 points, and a triple toe loop is worth 4.2 points. So right off the bat, that is 13.90. Then we have to add 10% to that, which is 1.39. So that is 15.29. Then we add our GOE, which once again, this jump, while it didn't have the difficult entry of the triple axel or the little twizzle at the end, I would say that this probably got +3s and 4s, again, just because of the speed, the flow, and the height. So I'm going to say that he got about 4 points added on to the grade of execution, meaning that his total score on this jump is 19.29 points. Insane. Insanity. The spin is dinner, 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 dinner. Okay. That was a change foot camel spin. So we're going to talk about the difference between a change foot camel spin and a change foot combination spin here in a moment. I'm just going to tell you that this spin stayed in the camel position the entire time, which is where their leg is straight out, and it's completely, your body is here and your leg is here and it's all completely straight. That's a camel spin. He's not getting his levels, I'll just say. Just to be a little bit on the critical side, I guess. I counted 3 features. So he did the basic camel position, and then he did a lean with an edge change, which is just one feature. And then he did a fly to change foot, which is another feature, and then he did a donut, which is his third feature. So a level 3 change foot camel spin, which is worth 2.80 points. Again, we're going to say he got +3s and 4s across the board. We will add another point on for grade of execution, bringing his total to 3.80 points on that change foot camel spin. And then I think we're going into our step sequence here, which he's going to get a level 4. Step sequences are much more difficult to call for levels. I could probably do it if I took a magnifying glass to it, but I won't. But again, just on the music, that falling leaf, right on the music. Okay, y'all get it. He's perfect with the music, which this is a production, so it can help a little bit. But we're going to just say that step sequence was a level 4, which is worth 3.9 points. We're, again, going to say +4s-ish, +5s, which is going to add another, I'll give it an extra 1.5, bringing the total for that to 4.40 points. And we're into our final element of the program. So this is our change foot combination spin. First feature there. Second feature. And I think he did a difficult entry on this one that I missed. Yeah. Okay. So again, we didn't do all of our spin features in any of them. I can't call any of them a level 4. Again, a lot of rules have changed since I stopped, so they very well could be level 4s, but in his case, with the level of difficulty his jumps are doing, the spins aren't quite as important as someone like Inori, if you've seen my videos where I've talked about that, but he's not getting his full maxed out levels on his spins. I called that a level 3 because we had a difficult entry, which is where he kind of like went in a couple circles, putting his toe in the ice, and then he did a camel spin, just a basic, so that wasn't a feature. A combination spin, you have to go in all 3 positions, which is going to be a camel, a sit, and an upright position. So camel spin, like I said, is where your chest is leaning forward. You're a complete straight line from your toe to the tip of your head. And then an upright spin is when you're actually upright. And then a sit spin, of course, is when you're in the sit position. So in order to get a combo spin, you have to hit all 3 of those. So he does the camel first, which is just a basic position to get the combo spin, but he's not getting a level for that, so we're still at a level 1. Then he did the Bielman, that's his second feature, so level 2. Then he changes feet to get the change foot combination spin, and he goes right into a pancake position, which is his level 3, and then that's it. Okay, so a level 3 change foot combination spin is worth 3.0 points, and then once again, he's getting plus 3s, 4s, 5s, he's going to get an added point added to it, bringing his total to 4.0 points. And then, of course, his components, because of how many times he just hits the music, he is so smooth across the ice, he has the skating skills of an ice dancer, he's going to be maxing out a lot in the component scores. So I'll give you the total technical element score right here, which is huge. And then I think this would be scoring... What is the world record short program score right now? Men's figure skating score records. The highest short program total score as of right now is 113.97 without being able to really break down component scores. So for those of you who don't know, there are 2 halves to a score. There is the technical element score, which is everything we just talked about. The jumps, the spins, the step sequences. Then you have the component scores, which is separated into 3 subcategories, which is composition, performance and execution, and skating skills. Composition is more of that choreography. I would say I would be giving the composition a 10 of this because you've already heard me beat it down, but the musicality of this program and every note hit was just amazing. Performance and execution. So this is a score that is supposed to go down if you make mistakes because your execution of the program is not as good. And then performance is the way you perform, interpret the music, that sort of thing. So again, perfectly done. He's interpreting the music perfectly. Probably 10s, honestly. And then skating skills are the edge quality, which I've already talked about, is also amazing. So in all reality, he's not going to get 10s in an actual competition because that's very rare. People have given him 10s. Like, he is, I think, a skater that gets more 10s than average compared to all the other skaters that he was competing against because he's just that good. And then kind of similar to grade of execution, whatever the judges give them on a scale of 0 to 10 in component scores is thrown into a calculator, and then they get a total program component score in points, and that's added onto their total technical element score to give you your total segment score, which would be the short program score. In my opinion, the world record is 113. This would be probably around there because his level of difficulty is very high. His component score should be very high. The only thing that keeps me from saying it would break a world record is he got level 3s on his spin. And one of them, I still am teetering towards a level 2. So he didn't max out on his points there, but everywhere else he did, meaning that he was probably scoring around a 110 for this, which is world title level. Like, for reference, last year at the World Championships, the winner of the short program was Shoma Uno, and he scored a 107.72. So, there you have it. Yuzuru Hanyu is amazing. He is the GOAT. He is absolutely incredible. I don't really have much else to add on other than that this is incredible, and I am constantly in awe of his skating. But I'm going to end the video there. ended up being quite a bit longer than I expected it to be, but thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts on today's video. Also, if you're interested in checking out my Medalist stuff, I have both a Medalist playlist where it's just my reaction to the episodes. I do pause it a lot still, but it's a little bit less of a very specific breakdown. And then I have a Medalist secondary playlist where I take the competitive programs from that show and I break them down like I did for the second half of this video where I talk about base value and that sort of stuff. So if you're interested, check it out in the description. And also don't forget to follow me on social media at Hannah Malay on Instagram and at lookingnerdy on TikTok and X. But with that, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all later. またね!